This is Rudo Radio coming to you from the 559.
Hello and welcome to Rudo Radio, SB Nation and Cage Side Seats weekly wrestling podcast. I am Nick Bond, joined as ever by Mr. Mark Normandin. Mark, how are you?
Doing well. I'm still on paternity leave, so I got that whole thing going on. Which is mostly
baby?
The baby's mostly sleeping, and so I play video games and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Except for the 3 o'clock in the morning when she's projectile vomiting, and then it's not.
Oh, well, A, that doesn't happen, and B, I'm sleeping anyway.
So even if it had happened, I would have no clue.
I wouldn't know. But that's just the way the schedule works, because I wake up early and do the late feedings, So
yeah.
It's this is not me being an absentee father in my own house. It's that's how the schedule plays out.
It's like, oh no, well 3 o'clock is her time, 4 o'clock is my time.
Yeah, that's all. Jeez, guys, wow, you really all think so poorly of me.
Well, you are a jerk, so it does extrapolate out. I'm really sorry.
I am a very nice person. What's annoying? Speaking of babies, and since we're on a wrestling podcast, the Sasha Banks Legit Boss onesie is sold out in any size that my daughter could wear, at any time in the next year, 2 years. And there's just a real lack of onesies in general on the WWE shop. That's the problem. If someone from the WWE shop is listening, and since New Day Socks now exists, I'm pretty sure someone is. Make that happen. More onesies for my baby. I will buy them. I will give you my money. It's this will happen.
There's a market for this. It's this generation of nerdy wrestling fans who have way too much disposable income.
Yeah. Let me waste my money on you instead of something important.
You already got the house. You're fine.
Yeah. Well, if they don't make it, here's the thing. I'll have to go to some third-party store by some person who has the motivation to make this thing, realizing they can make money off it. So, I have to just reward that endeavor. It's an idle threat. Not idle threat. It's a threat. It's definitely a threat. WWE. I will spend the money somewhere. So
your need for wrestling themes onesies is insatiable, and it has been for years.
Yes,
you wanted a baby so that you could put wrestling themes onesies on her. Is that correct?
No, that's not even close to the truth. We put a Hideo Itami, a men's medium, although we just swaddled her in it during the Royal Rumble, just in case Itami showed up, so we could be okay, the baby's got the real long shot here, but the baby will look really smart.
I was just imagining if you would have said yes to that question, that statement that I made earlier, because then she would have listened to this podcast and been like, really, Dad?
Oh, come on, no one listens to this podcast.
Oh.
I certainly don't.
All right, well, I guess we should talk about Raw now?
Yeah.
Or existential loneliness, I don't...
No, you deal with that on your own.
Raw
By yourself.
Wow, you are mean.
No
so Raw was good, but it wasn't mind-blowing. I liked the stuff I thought they did an exceptional job with. Especially, I really liked both the way in which they had Goldberg come down and how that led to Jericho and Owens being clearly on the path to destruction in terms of their friendship. I thought that was those two things coming together the way it did, I thought worked really, really well.
It was a good way of weaving together the main event and doing so a little differently than they've done. Because, it's been Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins for so long. along with those two. So it's as weird as it is for Goldberg, who has wrestled for, I don't know, 180 seconds since his return to WWE. I don't know how long he was in the Rumble, but, you know.
I think like about 3 minutes.
Oh my god. So yeah, he will likely be Universal Champion for WrestleMania, so he can lose the title to a different part-timer. So that's great. Maybe WWE heard all the complaints about how the Universal Championship is like the 5th most important belt in the company. And they were like, fucking show you. Put that on Goldberg, then probably put it on Brock Lesnar. And then Vince McMahon will win it. I don't know.
And then it'll be the 9th most important belt in the company.
It will be interesting hearing like Paul Heyman and, talk it up. And Brock murder someone with it. Just with the belt itself. But, getting ahead of myself here. It is pretty cool, to see Goldberg versus Owens. It'll be a very different opponent than what we've expected. We assumed it would, back in November, it was like, okay, Goldberg's going to come here. He's going to die. And, then they'll, I don't know, move on with whatever, come out with a DVD or something. This is kind of where we thought we were. But now it's like, wow, he's going to win a title.
And then get murdered.
Possibly. God, I don't know at this point. But it is a little weird to see Goldberg get treated so well and be in a position to win a title and have a huge match at Mania, like, so shortly after poor Sting came in and, like, got a huge pop and a reception and got some cool moments, but also it's like, Sting, you lose all the time. That's the thing that happens with you.
I have a hot take.
Yeah.
Sting sucks.
Whoa,
I hate Sting.
Wow. I think he should have come down from the rafters a little more often and maybe brandished the bat against the NWO a little earlier, but, live and learn.
It's not, like, I think that's part of it, though, is that, like, at least for me, as a lifelong WWE fan who watched WCW but never became, a real WCW fan, Goldberg felt like he would have a chance against my favorite wrestlers in a way that Sting just never felt that way. Like, I at least for me, I always felt like Sting lacked something, and I think Goldberg has that that you need to be able to be like a major star in the WWE. I don't think Sting had it in the way that he did in like WCW. He was like a almost big fish in a medium-sized pond, where like Goldberg's a huge fish in a medium-sized pond, and then I think he would have translated better to the WWE.
Maybe. I don't know. It's interesting to think of where Sting would have been if he hadn't gone to WCW. Like if he had gone to WWE at some point, in the opposite direction when all the younger guys were coming in. If things had been a little different, would have been an interesting kind of character in the Attitude Era, especially if they wanted to make, DX a little darker than they did. I don't know, but this is off topic.
Sorry, I hate Sting, and I think everybody should know it. Not as much as Dolph Ziggler. I like Goldberg more than I like Sting. I think he's a better wrestler.
Wow. Okay, I did not. This is not in my notes. Also, I don't have notes.
Well, you know what? This is the new name of this podcast. It's called Hot Take Radio.
Nope, it is not. It is not that at all.
Oh, then forget I said anything for the last 2 minutes.
I already have.
But back to Goldberg. But I think that's why. I don't think they're comparable competitors. I think Goldberg was, even, like, I remember when wrestling was popular, like, at the height of its powers, when it was on Entertainment Weekly and the cover of Entertainment Weekly and stuff like that, Goldberg was always the focal point of the WCW side. He's, like, it makes sense to me that he's going to be Universal Champion. If they did this with Sting against Seth Rollins, it'd have been like, you're just giving this old guy a championship. I weirdly don't feel that way, despite the fact that they're clearly just going to give an old guy a championship.
Here's a related but different question. Who did WCW fuck up more? Goldberg or Sting? Let's talk about something we can agree on. WCW
fucked up Goldberg more than Sting, but Sting got fucked up worse than Goldberg, but it wasn't WCW's doing. It was Hulk Hogan going, you know what? Make it a slow count on the thing that's supposed to be a quick count so that we completely ruin the ending of the storyline we've been building to for a year. So we don't feel bad when we have him lose the title in a month for no reason.
So slow count is worse for you than Taser?
Yes.
Okay, because, granted, both of them are fucking terrible.
Awful. Yeah, awful. But, you could see that Goldberg could lose that match. And, if you're going to have him lose, which I don't think he should have, that's a different question than, you built to this moment, and then Hogan went, screw this moment. That messed up an entire year of storyline in a way that was almost, the movie shooting attaching the wrong ending to a movie. Oh my god, we didn't realize in the editing bay we accidentally put the ending of, Bambi on this. It was terrible. Where with the ending of the movie for the Goldberg streak was bad, but it made sense that, he got attacked, we got cattle prodded, he got electrocuted. Even if you think that's stupid, at least it goes, oh, okay. It's not just them intentionally botching something that they'd been building to for a year.
Well, what bothers me about the Goldberg thing is I think that it's such an example of everything that was wrong with the NWO, where it didn't matter who came up against them. They were going to come out the other side worse off than they were.
Oh, yeah, and in that sense, I totally agree. But, I completely abandoned the product. In the little I was watching after Bret Hart came in to complain about a fast count that had not actually happened. It was just such a clusterfuck.
It's all bad. Let's stop talking about WCW.
It was so bad. We should have a WCW's terrible podcast. That's what we should have.
Let's not do that.
No hot take podcast, no WCW podcast. You just want to do this one podcast?
When the network first showed up, I started watching all the old WCW pay-per-views, and I had to just stop. Because I realized I wasn't watching them anymore. They were on, and I wasn't paying attention because I was shielding myself from them. I got, 3 years in or whatever. It was just
you got 3 years into WCW's pay-per-views?
Yeah, I think it was after they started doing the NWO specific ones that I really was just nope. And then
this is awful.
Then I came back a little bit, and I abandoned it right before Wolfpack happened. So, it's just not great. But anyway, Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho's friendship seems like it's headed for dissolution.
Yeah, speaking of convoluted storylines, to give them credit, and we talked about this before the show, I really liked the way they did this, which is having Chris Jericho make Kevin Owens, actually stand up for him. So you, can tell that's where it's going, is that he's going to kind of screw Kevin Owens over. But they held it out as long as they could, and constantly had it when you thought it was going to be the last thing that finally broke the camel's back, have them actually be reasonable people and be listen, I actually believe in our friendship, so I will trust that you didn't actually mean to hurt me or this have this happen, yada, yada, yada. Where this one is kind of no, Chris Jericho's just a dick. That was just a dick thing to do.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to... the only question is how quickly does Kevin Owens seek retribution? Is it right after the match at Fastlane? Is it the next night on Raw? But that's the next step.
Well, they have a friendship festival. So I don't know if you saw the advertisements for it, but they ran it during one of the last segments on Raw and during SmackDown, and it is literally called the Friendship Festival.
I do love those two, and I will miss them when they're split up. But it's time.
Yes, I think that's pretty unequivocal. That's why I'm glad they did it this way. They did it in a way that it makes sense given their history, but it wasn't they waited too long to have them do this. This is enough of an inciting incident that it doesn't feel like this is extreme, even relative to what they've done. And that's something WWE has a tendency to screw up, is they will the second to last thing is the highest escalation, and then the last thing right before the pay-per-view or whatever is always oh yeah, but you did a way more messed up thing the week before. They actually had this be the messed up thing where you're I wouldn't want to be friends with somebody who did that. I totally get where Kevin Owens is coming from.
I'm very curious about who they present as the face in this situation.
My feeling is Kevin Owens.
Maybe it'll be neither of them. We'll be in a situation where we get to pick sides, which is because the crowd's going to cheer for both of them. That's probably the thing to do, is because they're both capable of being bad guys while also kind of making the crowd empathize with them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because Kevin Owens is the kind of heel where, like, he's right 99% of the time. He's just an asshole.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, exactly.
They can probably make both of them... I don't know, the realer it feels, the more likely they can get away with heel versus heel, but people still having someone to cheer for and make a lot of noise. I'm really excited about the eventual showdown. So,
and I'm totally fine with this Goldberg Kevin Owens match. I think it's going to be super quick, but I think Kevin Owens has built up enough of like political capital that he's pretty much okay losing to Goldberg, who's murdered everyone he's seen at this point. I feel like they can actually have him get away with that and be fine.
You know what would be fascinating is if Brock Lesnar comes out and is somehow able to, you know, without DQ being happening, somehow makes it so Goldberg wins because he wants the Universal title.
And doesn't think he can beat Kevin Owens for it?
No, it's not that. It's just that he has a match with Goldberg at WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So he just comes in and kind of, like, literally stacks things up.
Like, I already have a match with you, so might as well make it worth something.
Yeah. So that would be interesting if Lesnar gets involved. Because it's also a way to kind of protect Owens from just looking like a chump before his major match with Jericho at Mania. Because no one's gonna be like, oh, Kevin Owens, this guy, if he gets like murked by Brock Lesnar, but then also, you know, somehow Lesnar gets the jump on Goldberg and is able to like place him on top of Owens.
Yeah. No, I that seems like the way that they might do, because they also seem to be wanting to build towards some sort of Kevin Owens Brock Lesnar feud, at least a little bit. Like, I don't think it's a top priority, but they seem to have some interest in it.
Yeah, they're doing it at a house show, I think.
Yeah, and I think they did that with Randy Orton a couple of months before they started having him, before they had him do the match at SummerSlam. So I feel like they could be doing the same thing with Kevin Owens, or Finn Balor, one of the two, whoever comes back. But yeah, I think the main event, and also to include Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns in this, I think the main event right now is starting to solidify as like an actual interesting thing, even with two of the guys out, two of their main eventers in Seth Rollins and Finn Balor out. They're really building up a really solid main event. And I was really happy to see them bring back the Braun Strowman versus local talent thing that they did at the beginning, but this time up the ante to such a point it was just categorically ridiculous.
I love that Braun still wasn't satisfied, where he's like, these guys are jokes. This is nothing.
Literally, they were just walking jokes.
So now we get Strowman Reigns, which, man, doesn't that feel like another match that's not going to get a clean finish at Fastlane? Like, Samoa Joe shows up, right?
God willing.
So,
could you imagine Samoa Joe versus Braun Strowman? Oh, man, that would be neat.
Oh, God, I'm not ready for that.
I don't think the Earth's crust is ready for that.
I mean, if they're both in the Battle Royal, the Dre, for those who are in the know, it would be cool if they got like an extended like preview of a future match sort of thing, you know?
Yeah, that would be cool.
Because I don't really know what else they're going to do. Like, if Seth Rollins is supposedly going to be ready for Mania, which means he'll fight Triple H. And if John Cena and Nikki Bella are going to face Miz and Maurice, by the way, God, spoiler tags, guys, I don't know. These rumors have been floating around like crazy. And if you're listening to this podcast, then you probably saw them. So,
and if not, check out your daily rumor roundup.
Yeah.
on CagesideSeats.com.
So, like, who's Joe facing if he's not facing those guys? Just in terms of, like, they already have 10 reported matches set for Mania.
Well, they have an hour for each match, so they should be fine.
Oh, Mania's so
I wish I were kidding. I'm really not.
6 hours. 6 hours. We can do it. We can do it.
You mean the main show is 6 hours, plus another 17 hours of pre-show?
Nope. No, it'll start at 5, and it'll go until, 11:30. I mean, we won't have an hour-long main between Triple H and Roman Reigns this year, and hopefully Rock doesn't show up with, 2 flamethrowers this time, because that'll just be twice the aggravation. How did he make flamethrowers suck? God damn it! I'm mad about this all over again. Anyway, there's already a lot of rumors. What else? My complaint about Raw, by the way, is that they had like three matches finish the exact same way with just interference, and it sounds like I mean, I'm coming up with the Lesnar thing. Who knows if it happens? But it really feels like Fastlane will also be a lot of interference. So like, we're really happy with the main event and the players in it and the direction they're moving. But I'm also nervous that they're just going to spin their wheels until WrestleMania.
I've kind of come to accept that if you're not going to have...
Great.
Like, if you don't have an Elimination Chamber match, like, if the Elimination Chamber ends with John Cena, and obviously it's a different show, but if it ends with John Cena winning, I'm going to be super annoyed. Don't have an Elimination Chamber match then. Don't be stupid.
Oh, man. I think they gave us, to transition to SmackDown, I think they gave us Cena versus Orton with Cena winning. Because it's like, it's not happening. You know, that was like their casual nod of like, don't worry. John Cena, you don't know who's going to win, but John's not going to win. He's not going to face Randy. It's okay. It's 2017, everybody.
We're cool. We just wanted to give him the 16 championships and walk away.
I mean, the only reason John Cena and Orton happened even in 2014 was because... Was it 2014 that it happened? No.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan got hurt. That's why.
Yeah, so, no. No,
yeah,
Bryan
he got hurt.
Was he hurt because of the championship?
He got hurt, and then they had the Money in the Bank ladder match, but the Money in the Bank ladder match was actually for
that's
one
right.
of the titles, I think. And then they eventually had somebody win the World Heavyweight title from Alberto Del Rio, and then they fought each other, I think. For the Unified Championship.
United Champions or something, I don't remember. It wasn't good. Might have been Hell in a Cell. But either way, it wasn't good. But yeah, there was all that stuff where it was like, well, somebody wins, so it seems like a big moment. No, okay.
The two biggest stars of our generation. That was my JBL impression. I liked SmackDown this week.
I'm shocked.
But I kind of could have done without another Randy Orton John Cena match. I know I joked last week, like, oh, I'd be excited.
It was a perfectly cromulent match.
That's what you want from wrestling, is perfectly cromulent.
Yeah, it was, I mean, my expectations for Randy Orton versus John Cena
are fart noise.
Here's the thing. John Cena's great. I love John Cena. I think Randy Orton is a great heel. I never want to see those two wrestle ever again. So, with that in mind... Yeah, it was fun. I like that there was, Bray Wyatt got involved and Luke Harper showed up and like all that stuff happened. That made it more interesting. But yeah, it seemed like a shorter version of the matches they had 8 years ago that I wasn't interested in then.
Yeah, they just seem like they don't have styles that totally, and they never have.
Yeah, they don't have chemistry.
Which is weird because they're both super talented and have chemistry with a lot of other people. More so John than Randy. Randy can kind of... When he has a good feud, it's perfect, and when he doesn't, you're like, oh.
Well, it's interesting.
What it looks like?
I think they're both much better with smaller guys.
Yes.
So then you put these two bigger guys together. Like, think of Cena's best matches, really. Just in general. You're talking Punk, Styles, Bryan, guys like that. All the U.S. title guys he had come up, none of them were like big hulking dudes for the most part. It was smaller guys. And it's not, that's not like 100% the way it runs with Cena because, man... Cesaro is huge. Kevin Owens is 270 pounds. That's fine. I mean, Edge is no small guy. So it's not like an exclusive. Cena's only good against small guys. But I think he's better against small guys. And Randy Orton, like, who are the people he's had great feuds with? Like, Christian is tall, sure, but he's not a big guy.
Well, also, it's important. Christian. It's important to remember with Randy Orton, he's enormous.
Yes.
He is a giant man. He looks, I don't know like physically how tall he actually is, but he looks to be like 6'5", 6'6" sometimes when he stands.
He's 6'6" and about 250, which is what Cena weighs. So Cena's bulkier, Orton's taller, but they're both, there's 500 pounds in the ring between the two of them. They're not wrestling smaller dudes. So that might be part of it. And also Cena's kind of brawler. He goes back to that brawler style with Orton, which sometimes isn't a great fit with the, like, Randy Orton is a heel and he's going to walk around you for 10 minutes, like, stomping on individual body parts kind of thing. which they didn't do.
Totally.
They didn't do last night because the match was only like 10 minutes long, 15 minutes long maybe. But yeah, I don't know, it doesn't work. But I don't think we're gonna have to worry about it at Mania, so that's cool. Although it would be amazing if they faced each other at Mania, and everyone is complaining in the lead up, and then they put on like just an indie spot fest.
They do the Canadian Destroyer spot.
They just do the match that if you could go back in time and show someone from 2009, they'd be like, who are these people? I don't understand what's happening, and why is everyone cheering Cena?
Yeah, he is something else. Who is not something else? Sorry, we have to talk about Dolph Ziggler. So any dig...
He did. He's on the card. Shit.
Yeah, any dig I can get in on him to start off, I will. Especially for this stupid... Actually, no. It's not stupid ass. I like that they're giving Apollo... Usually I don't like, why would you put two faces against a heel? But they have built up Dolph Ziggler as such an asshole that he has this coming.
And he also literally asked for it.
Yes.
Like, he used the words like, I'll fight both of them, I don't care. And Brian's like, wow, you're really aggravating. And I have the power to do that.
I don't care. I hate you.
Yeah. Dolph just fucking moody teens away from the room.
That is literally his gimmick right now. Like, when we were making the jokes last week about him just being like, I have something I want to say. My name is Dolph. I'd like to read you some poetry. Like, that is just how, when you try to talk to a teenager, they're like, I don't know. I don't even care. So how's school? I don't know. Stupid. Like, that's what he sounds like.
So just so it doesn't sound like I hate anyone who speaks in a slow voice in wrestling, like, Dolph Ziggler's it's not like, oh, this is some good healing, he's making us hate him. It's just honestly like, I don't even care what your point is. That's how slow and annoying it is.
He reminds me, in a weird way, I don't know if you've seen this episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia or are familiar with the ancillary characters on that show, but Gail the Snail, you have to end up salting the snail, like physically throwing salt at her to get her to go away, and that's what he reminds me of.
Just need someone to throw salt at him.
Yeah, she's but I am happy for Apollo Crews.
Hold on. I was halfway through a point.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know.
Really, you're going to make a really important point about Dolph Ziggler? Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know anymore. I'm just going to be moody like Dolph. I learned it from him. So yeah, Mickie James speaks very slowly right now as a heel. But I think her cadence works better because you're just kind of like, you're getting aggravated with her, but it's building up. It's not like immediate at the very start of it, where like Dolph was he's just exaggerating so much with the slowness that he was like, Jerry Lawler, I murdered you almost.
Here's another thing that segment reminded me of. You know the part in Wet Hot American Summer where Paul Rudd's character has to pick up the fork off the floor?
Yes.
And he's just like flopping around, like, fine. Like, trying to get it so that the person will be like, fine, I'll get it. She just refuses. Like, that's what it feels like when Dolph Ziggler talks.
Man.
Fine, but whatever.
So Mickie James does a better job of it, where like she's building the aggravation by talking very slow, and you're just like, get to the point, Mickie, come on. But you still care about the point. You want to know going with it.
We'll talk about this because that's the next match, but I thought the promo segment, but for the double contract signing, was
historic.
Superb. It was so good. I loved it. That was like one of the best. They have nailed all of the women's contract signings, but this one might have been the best one in its own weird way, because they just had Renee leave the room and them just talk shit about each other in a way that felt like Alexa's, oh, you're here, to Naomi was like,
she signs the contract for a match with Naomi without once acknowledging her. And then after she signs it, she's like, oh, right, I'm not feuding with Becky. I'm feuding with this person over here. Naomi? That's right. That's sweet.
Yeah. So, Apollo Crews and Kalisto, yay! Who do you think wins the Dolph Ziggler Apollo Crews Kalisto match? It's Dolph Ziggler, right? Or does he get his comeuppance now?
The heel should not win a 2-on-1 handicap match against two up-and-coming faces.
I would hope so, but that's not how wrestling works.
Well, here's the thing. You can have those two win because it's not like this is going to happen at Mania. All three of those people are going to be in the Battle Royal.
Yes.
They're all going to be in the Dre. So you got to remember, like, some stories are ending or they're just going to finish on SmackDown. So I think it's fine if you do a 2-on-1 here and then break it off into separate singles matches, or, like, he just feuds with Cruz. Like, say Cruz gets the pin again and Ziggler's really pissed at him more than Kalisto, and Kalisto can go off and do whatever. And
yeah, that works.
I think the 2-on-1... Like, why? Why would Ziggler win?
Because he tries harder than everybody else.
God.
And he steals the show?
No, he doesn't.
He's a show stealer.
He's terrible.
A turd. So you have Apollo, I have Dolph. And now to talk about... we just started talking about, but to extend that conversation, I love Becky Lynch versus Mickie James. I think it's fantastic. And I think that Mickie James cut one of the best promos, if not the best promo of her career on Tuesday. I thought it was
great. And so
amazing.
So was Becky mouthing, "You're not my mom." Oh, that was great. Yeah, Becky just had a lot of... I can't remember what the second one was, but she just kind of just kept saying things to Mickie, not to the crowd, but like to the TV audience and to Mickie. They were all hilarious, so go back and watch.
Yeah, they were both great. I mean, like I just said, that segment was one of the better just a promo segment, basically, with four people talking. They did a perfect job with it. I was riveted the entire time, and that doesn't happen with like the best talkers. Like they have two very real stories going on top of the like interconnectivity between Becky and Alexa over the title. Like it really works that she is more concerned about Becky than she is about Naomi, and is in Naomi's face about it. And Naomi's like, I've been here way longer than you, and I'm way better than you. I'm going to hurt you if you don't watch out. Like, that was perfect.
Also, I can lift my leg high enough to kick you over this table in the face.
And that looked awesome. Like, I am really excited for the idea that these four are the future of the women's division on SmackDown. Like, the next couple of months, you're going to really see those four be at, like, it feels like at the top of the card, because, like, Natalya's never going to be a main eventer again, and Nikki's probably going to be taking time off if she doesn't flat out retire. So, like, I really think...
The rumor is that she's not retiring.
But she is taking time off, right? Is that the...
Yeah, I guess the word is she might work more of a John Cena schedule where she gets more breaks, because as it is now... Oh, I can't remember who counted this up. It might have been @MakeItLoud on Twitter who did, or maybe she quote tweeted it. I don't remember. Sorry, Kate. But Nikki Bella has worked 56 matches since she came back, which is only like 5 to 10 less than the full-time women.
Mm-hmm.
You know, including house shows and everything. So,
yeah.
Remember when Nikki Bella was supposed to come back part-time because her neck was a problem? Didn't really work like that. So it seems like they mentioned that she had some numbness in her arm on Talking Smack on Tuesday. So maybe she's just going to do more of a like balance and come back for bigger shows, just like Cena. But, you know, she might not be at every pay-per-view. But thankfully, does not sound like she's retiring. Because I can't deal with having Nikki Bella taken away again.
Which is a sentence we probably never thought we would say. A couple of years ago.
Yeah, I'm like, go back in time, because I've been a Nikki Bella stan for a while now.
Stan. But yeah, I think this match, from like a pure styles perspective, is going to be a very, very good match.
Which one?
Becky versus Mickie.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm curious to see them really tear it up, because you've got Becky, who is... Becky is probably the best women's wrestler they have.
You mean on either show?
Yeah, not just like...
Okay. Yeah, I think I agree.
And Mickie legitimately is like historic within the division. Mm-hmm. So, and she's, you know, they didn't just throw her up against Asuka for no reason at TakeOver. They wanted someone who could go. And we know she can still go. So her versus Becky, man, that's going to be cool.
And I was watching it, and during her promo, I did have that pang of, like, that Chris Jericho-esque bit to her, where she's like, I'm a 6-time women's champion. You're like, wow, that is a lot of title reigns. Like, obviously the title was different back then, but not... it was less different back then than it was in the build up to the women's revolution. Like, it was a closer facsimile to what modern wrestling, women's wrestling looks like in the last 2 years or so than the preceding, like, Divas bullcrap. Like, the total Divas era kind of got away from wrestling in a way that, at least nominally, they were still, like, important wrestlers for the period that Mickey was in charge, or one of the big stars.
Yeah, Mickey was around at the same time as, like, Beth Phoenix, who people say, you know, one of the best women's wrestlers they've ever had, if not the best. The Trish Stratus has won more women's championship than Mickey James, which should really put it into perspective. Because Trish is really the ideal that WWE points to. Whether that's accurate or not is, like, a whole other thing. But, like, everyone always talks about Trish as the pinnacle. So she's got 7. She's only got 1 more than Mickey does. And man, if Mickey wins it at Mania in a Fatal 4-Way match with all 4 of these women, for example, like, she's tied with Trish. So then Mickey James is a WWE Hall of Famer, probably, right?
Yeah, I think she's a Hall of Famer now.
Yeah.
Like, the second she came back, she became a WWE Hall of Famer because it was like, oh, they're on good terms.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, and I think this match has I know I always say this at every show. I think the Becky Lynch match is the sleeper for this pay-per-view. Because they can both go at a level that I don't know if Alexa can go at the level that either Becky or Mickey could go, but I think Naomi is as good as Mickey and Becky, but I don't think that Alexa's quite on that level in terms of, like, an actual match. She's a great heel, heel wrestler, but I don't know if that's really going to work as well with Naomi.
It's going to be fascinating to watch Naomi, who is bigger, be the flippy spinny. Yes. And Alexa essentially wrestles like a hoss. She's a pixie hoss, and it's going to be. I hope those two styles work together. It might seem weird, like, from the outside, but man, who knows?
Yeah, I have faith that it should be good because I think they're both very talented, and I think that Alexa wrestles to her character exceptionally well. But I definitely think that Becky Lynch versus Mickey James has a much higher floor and possibly a higher ceiling.
I can see this. My silence was like silent nodding.
It wasn't pensive?
No, it wasn't pensive. No pensiveness there.
You're sure you're not pensive about the tag team turmoil match?
It's going to be, well, it's in the name. It's going to be turmoil.
Oh, wait, before we go on, Becky or Mickey, and do you think it matters? Because I don't think it matters. I'm just excited I don't care who wins in a good way.
Okay, so I think Becky's going to win, and I think Alexa's going to retain. And I think things can remain connected enough leading up to Mania that all 4 of these women end up in a championship match where one of the people who is not a winner at Elimination Chamber will win because things have changed.
Yeah, I can see that. So do you have Becky or Mickey?
I said I had Becky.
Oh, when?
Before I said an Alexa retains.
Oh, right. Okay, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
I need to learn how to read or listen. One of the two.
Yes. Know the difference between words.
I've heard it both ways. So the tag team turmoil match, speaking of which, I have Becky winning, but I really don't care.
The tag team turmoil match?
Oh, yeah, definitely. No, her match but I would also put her as the favorite in this match because there is no good team in this match.
Oh, American Alpha.
Mark, they're not
Don't.
They're not. Sad face emoji, shrug emoji, sad face emoji.
How excited would you be if the Ascension won?
Hecka excited, dude. That would be gnarly.
Like, if you're not gonna do don't treat it hyper serious like Raw keeps trying to, and just like screwing things up with all these messed up finishes and everything that just delays everything. Just throw a total curveball in there where, like, American Alpha lost because they beat 5 teams or something. And then the Ascension just comes in and they're like, dumb finisher, we win.
we're the best, yay! Yeah, I would be cool with that. That would make a lot of sense to just give it to a random team that basically wins because Jason Jordan and Chad Gable couldn't be perfect.
They couldn't wrestle 7 teams for half an hour or whatever.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's so hard to judge these matches beyond or preview them because it's like such a cluster kerfuffle.
Yeah, without any order or anything. So
yeah. So I guess for this one, simply, do you think that America Alpha comes out first? If so, do you think they retain? And if not, who do you think has the best chance of beating them for the titles?
I mean, I think if they lose the titles, it is going to be in something messed up, like I just said. Like the Ascension wins. It'll just be weird. But it's not that weird because they've won the NXT championship, tag team championships, and they're still the longest reigning tag team champions in NXT history, and they're the longest reigning champion of any kind in NXT history. So see, I just pulled all that stuff out. The announce team can make it work.
Yeah, no, I think that, and that's one of the reasons I think it would be cool is that they actually do have like a history to them, and it'd be nice to see them get a push that they kind of tried to give them when they first came up until JBL was like, this is stupid, I hate it. And then they were like, oh, we hate it too. So they gave them really crappy storylines that nobody cared about. And then Connor got suspended, and they were like, when you come back, we'll give you a shot at the world tag team titles. And they were like, yay! And that's what you saw on Tuesday, was them getting their like, hey, we liked you, and we kind of like you again. So here's a win in a big tag team match that is not important.
It'll also surprise people because I think the assumption on the go home is like, oh, the Ascension got the pin, so like they won't be the team who wins.
Yeah, what do they do to save the tag team division? Is there anything they can do?
Yeah, you do something crazy like put the belts on the Ascension.
You think that's...
I think it's more interesting and will get more people talking than American Alpha retained against the entire division.
Or the Usos?
Yes.
You don't think the Usos would be interesting? Because I think that's the other team.
Heel Usos would be super interesting, but yeah, you have to... I don't think you can have... And I love American Alpha. I think you can't have them go into Mania as champions, especially because there might not even be a tag team championship match at Mania for SmackDown. So, yeah, just do something crazy and get people talking and, like, work it out on SmackDown in the lead into Mania, and maybe there'll be a pre-show match, or maybe you work it into the Dre somehow. Or it'll be the first SmackDown pay-per-view after Mania that it really all comes to a head. But it gives you something to do besides admit on television where even American Alpha's like, well, yep, SmackDown's great, but they forgot the entire tag division existed, so that's why we're all in one match, because we're hitting reset.
I think I get a weird inkling that the way they're going to go with this is like have the Usos win in a cheap way against American Alpha where they're the last team to come in, and then you have Kurt Angle come out with American Alpha and Rikishi come out with the Usos. I feel like that's the best and easiest way to get like hype around this match. You have it. I think they want to showcase American Alpha, so I get the feeling, I'm in agreement with you that I think they're going to lose, but I think it might be the Usos, because I think it's a much more target-rich environment in terms of storylines that could generate actual buzz and could have actual star power attached to them. Like, what are you going to have Road Warrior Animal come out for the Ascension? They can't even have Demolition.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's not going to happen at Mania anyway, I don't know if you need to pump it up that same way.
Well, the reason I suggest this is because I also get the feeling they want to incorporate Kurt Angle somewhat in the in the WrestleMania festivities, and it feels like this is the best way to do it. I'm talking sheerly from like where I could see them going, because like I said, I just don't see the Ascension having any storylines that would allow you to, I mean, maybe, again, if, like, Road Warrior Animal, not Hawk, Animal comes, that'd be, like, the only thing I think that could generate any type of interest. I get the feeling this doesn't even make, like you said, I don't think it makes the show at all without some sort of, like, star attached to it, older star attached to it. And the only way I could see them doing that and have it appear at WrestleMania, which I get the feeling they might have, because it'd be weird if they left a title off the show. I think they're going to avoid that. I don't know if they're going to put every title on the main show, but I think they're going to put all of the titles being defended on WrestleMania night. Just so they don't have the weird thing where they're
maybe? But there's not... I don't know if there's room. Even with the 6 hours, I don't know if there's room.
There's 1, 2, 3,
There's
4,
10 matches
5
scheduled. There were 9 matches last year, and that includes the Cena Rock, whatever the F that was, against Eric Rowan.
And there are 8 titles to be defended, so...
Yeah. So, we're already... It's not... It's just, I don't think it's going to happen. They had 13, including the pre-show, but you're going to have 2 different tag team championship matches on the pre-show. And in addition to whatever you do with the Intercontinental, which there are no rumors for, and there are no rumors for the SmackDown Women's Championship yet. So there are things that are more important. I think a way to avoid having to defend the championship, the tag team championships, especially because you have 2 of them and neither division is really doing well. You should have champions versus champions to put a Raw SmackDown component in there.
Mm-hmm.
And
that would make sense too.
It's not a title match, but it's a chance for one tag team division to say they're the best over the other. So regardless of who it is, you can make it work.
So that's where you would see the Ascension coming in as the contenders for the title, where it's you're not even worth us appearing on pay-per-view together, at least until after WrestleMania.
I don't think it'd be the Ascension in that situation. I'm just kind of talking about ways you could
Oh, okay.
Fix it.
You could even have it. Okay.
Yeah, these aren't related. It's more...
Oh, okay. This match is just so weird because it's so pointless.
Let's move on.
Yeah, so as American Alpha probably losing, who we think is going to lose to varies, but I don't see them retaining the title either. The next match on the card is Nikki versus Natalya. I could not sit through another talking segment with them this week on SmackDown.
The Talking Smack one was good, though.
Yeah, Talking Smack is different, though. Talking Smack isn't as as we all know, isn't as scripted, so you get actual reactions from people. Even in the instances when it's entirely kayfabed out, you still get real responses from people that aren't scripted, at least.
Plus, Natalya Natalya just murked Nikki Bella's face. Just crushed it.
Yeah, she is awesome at the backstage beating the crap out of somebody when they're not looking segment. It's her I don't know, thing that you're really good at. I don't know if
if only they had words for that in another language.
40? Can I use it a 40?
Use that one. Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see them just beat the hell out of each other in an actual sanctioned match. Because the beatdowns have been great, and Nikki Bella hitting someone as hard as she can is a thing that I love to see. So let's have that happen.
Well, you're a warm-blooded American, so... human being in general.
I want Natalya to do her not great spinning clothesline that she does, and then Nikki Bella to just be no, this is how you do it, and then just clothesline through her body.
Do you think Natalya has anything left after this match? I can't. What does she do after this? Should she keep feuding with Becky? That's already over. They've already done that. I feel like this is one of the last stops for Natalya.
I mean, she might be off. She might get a break from TV and they'll bring in someone else. But you remember, there's going to be promotions after Mania, too. So I could see Natalya versus one of the newer faces that gets called up. Depending on who that is. Or Asuka's going to murder her after WrestleMania or something. Who knows? But, she'll have things to do. I do think she'll move out of this Nikki Bella thing and Nikki will move towards something else. But as the divisions get deeper, you'll find something for Natalya to do.
I hope so. She's good she's a good hand, as they say. Mm-hmm. I just worry about her career after this feud, because she seems even in this feud, she doesn't feel like she's where she should be. Even though she's doing a good job, it just feels like relative to Nikki, her star power is so much less. It feels like, at least to me, and I don't.
You can say that about literally everyone in the women's division on SmackDown.
But I think the difference is that Natalya's been there forever. They're on the same. It feels more noticeable when Natalya, who has basically lived a very similar life in terms of being on Total Divas, being one of the stars of one of their more popular shows, has like a long history in the industry, has deep connections to the industry, is still like 1/50th the star. Just having the star power and presence from like a pure charisma standpoint. Like I thought it was funny that she said she doesn't have charisma, and it's like Nikki Bella has like physical charisma that you just don't have.
Isn't that part of what this feud is about, though? Is Natalya
I guess
not understanding that Nikki Bella hasn't been handed things and that she's just this awesome?
Yes, and I think that's true, and I think they've done a good job with it, but the reason it works in any way is because it's so true, it's actually detrimental to Natalya. It's kind of like, to me, just to me, when John Cena was like, you rent those cars, Alberto Del Rio, and you're like, oh, right, he does. Like, that's what it feels like, is you're like, oh, right, Natalya. Natalya, you are a star, not a star for a reason. Like, looking at you next to Nikki Bella, it totally makes sense.
I don't know. I'm fine with it. But I think that's also because, as we've talked about, she is her Total Divas character. And she's just so Natalya at all times that it makes sense. Because anyone who's watched Total Divas through the whole run is like, oh my god, Natalya, you're good, but delusions, man. So many delusions. And you just hope Nikki, like, forearms the delusions out of her.
Yeah, that would be cool. She just woke up and she's like, oh, I'm a good mid-card hand.
I don't think it's a bad place for her to be.
Oh, no, and I don't mean to, like, disparage Natalya, but it is so noticeable in a feud with someone like Nikki Bella that Natalya, there's a reason Natalya isn't Charlotte Flair. You know what I'm saying? Like, she just doesn't have it. She has everything else but it.
Did you know she trained in the dungeon, though?
Which dungeon?
You know, the dungeon. The
dungeon?
The heart dungeon.
Oh, that dungeon.
That dungeon. Did you see Nikki Bella's impersonation of Natalya?
I did not.
Oh, my God. It's perfect. She put it on that Bella Twins channel. And Renee Young's, like, interviewing her on Talking Smack. Or, like, on that set. And Nikki comes out with little stuffed cats. And she is talking to the cats and talking about how wealthy the cats are. And how great, just how great they are. And saying horrible things about Nikki Bella. And at one point she goes, Renee, do you know I was trained in the dungeon? Do you know what that means? And Renee's just like, yeah. And Nikki looks at the camera and she just goes, sharpshooter. And then just, like, moves on to the next thing. She nailed Natalya's, like, odd cadence so well. Man. But it goes back to your thing about, like, them saying Nikki doesn't have charisma. I don't know. It's a lot of stuff. Oh, God. I don't want to bring politics into this, but I'm going to. You know how essentially everything Donald Trump accuses his opponents of, and I mean this, like, even before his political life, is always something he's guilty of.
Like, horrifically, in a way that an emperor not wearing clothes kind of way?
Yeah. I mean, that's what Natalya is doing to Nikki. Where it's like everything Natalya is, like, neurotic about Natalya is coming through, and she is saying that's Nikki Bella's thing.
Yeah, that's really noticeable. And I think that's part of the problem for me, is it doesn't hit my ear right. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, you're not even just wrong, you're delusional in a way I don't find charming, and not just because you, like, if you had the nuclear codes, I wouldn't find it charming, but the fact that you're a wrestler, I also don't find it charming.
That works, because Brett was kind of delusional, right? Like,
that is true.
Brett was amazing, but, like, Brett at his best was when he was a heel. Because what he pictured himself being as this worldwide champion that everyone adored was not what he was. So then he lost his mind and just, like, started trying to murder Stone Cold. Which, hey, if you're trying to get people back on your side, probably not the guy you want to attack. So, I don't know. That's a nice Hart family tradition.
Yes. The shoot interviews about the, like, WrestleMania 11 to WrestleMania 13 era of dealing with Brett's ego are just hilarious, because they're just like, you're the biggest asshole ever. And you read Hitman, which is one of my favorite books ever. I love Brett's autobiography. I think it's very well written for an autobiography, and I think he tells a lot of interesting stories. But what's funny is reading those stories from his perspective and then listening to literally anyone else involved and being like, yeah, he said those things. Well, they didn't sound the way he makes them sound. Like,
well, it's why Brett has to apologize every time after he criticizes something going on in WWE in a podcast, where he's like, Seth Rollins is a huge unsafe piece of shit. And it's like, Brett, do you know what that sounds like? It sounds like you called him an unsafe piece of shit. He's like, oh, I didn't mean it that way.
I mean, he should be more careful. And it's like, then say that.
He's a good kid who is also a piece of shit. It's like, come on.
Yeah, and quick aside on that, JBL did the "Why are you so mad, Brett" thing during the Bring It to the Table Peter Rosenberg show they had in the WWE, and it's literally just like a minute of him being like, "Why are you such a sourpuss, Brett?" It's amazing. Yeah. Like, get over it.
I love JBL.
Yeah, real JBL is amazing.
Oh yeah, he's so
the character they have him play on SmackDown, though it's getting better, is awful. But like, real JBL is like someone I'll actually listen to on Fox News Business. Like, I'll be like, oh yeah, that guy knows what he's an interesting guy to listen to. He's really smart and is really, like, not well spoken, but he's fun to listen to. He has a folksy charm to him, and they don't let it come through at all on SmackDown, which is a bummer. But, say la vie.
Hey, what else do we have on this card?
Speaking of say la vie. The next thing on the card is we have Nikki winning this, right?
Yeah, Nikki's going to win and move on, and Natalia's going to find some solace in her cats, and then someone else to fight with.
The next match after the Nikki Bella massacre will be Luke versus Randy in a battle of the brothers of the Wyatt family, even though they were only brothers for like a week and a half. But I'm excited because, as we talked about earlier, Randy Orton's a giant man, and he'll be facing another giant man, but a giant man that wrestles like a tiny man.
Yes,
so
Luke Harper is a strange creature, and I don't just say that because of his unwashed shirt and facial hair.
Yeah, Luke Harper, Randy Orton is one of those weird combinations you don't know you want until you see it, and you're like, oh, this is real, and it's amazing. Like,
I feel like Bray Wyatt's going to get involved to get revenge on Luke turning on him and to assure Randy's victory, which will have, further implications where, like, Bray has, not to jump too far ahead, but if Bray wins an Elimination Chamber and then Bray and Randy are, facing off at each other before Mania, all of a sudden Bray Wyatt has no allies left, and he is standing alone as WWE Champion, which, the WWE Champion should. As JBL would always say, everyone is gunning for you. You're the champion. Everyone wants what you have. And now you've pissed off Luke Harper, who is awesome.
Who is your only friend.
And who I would absolutely believe is a WWE champion if they build to it the right way.
Oh, he can do it tomorrow, and I'd be okay with it. But it would feel right, if they gave it an actual storyline to build up. But this match...
Luke Harper is a weird face of SmackDown, is something I think they could do. I think he has the charisma and the ability to talk, and people would latch on to him because he doesn't look like the prototypical, like, face champion. So that's something they can work on for a while. And they need more faces anyway, because SmackDown has got so many great heels on it. But, like, extended Luke Harper versus Miz feud with Luke Harper as face. Think about stuff like that.
Yeah, he wrestles a style that is very conducive to being a face, which is nice. It's very, like, facey.
I mean, the Wyatts were basically faces down in NXT. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And they've always been over, and him finally getting to break free was really, like, it was a point at which you kind of felt like something could happen.
Yes. And they did just do that. They did that 4-way or 3-way match. Last 4 or 5 weeks ago with Harper,
4 or 5 weeks ago, yeah.
Where it just trucked everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, look, it turns out that was leading to something.
Yeah, exactly. And we talked about it when that happened. Like, this feels like they're going to give him sort of, and SmackDown does that better than anybody, which we'll talk about in the next match, which is the women's title match. But, like, Luke, they understand that if you are talented and are given a chance, you will probably get over.
Mm-hmm.
They are also much more forgiving in terms of how much you get over. You don't have to be the biggest star in the entire world. You just have to get over for that minute. And I think that Raw has too much focused on long-term planning of, like, we're going to build this thing out for 6 months or a year, instead of just being like, we hope this works out, and if it doesn't, here are the contingencies. And I feel like SmackDown, because they have contingencies set up and they have like a almost like a culture that's starting to develop, it's not just next man up. It's like every man can do it, or every person on the roster can be a champion for us, can be a star for us, unless you're James Ellsworth. And then you have a very defined position of what you should be. And then they let you go outside of it when they need you to. But they're very good at both giving guys defined roles and allowing those guys to push up within those defined roles. And Luke Harper's a really good example of that. They got him to a match with Randy Orton that everybody's hyped about in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, and no one was really excited about the original start of this story either. I mean, we were into the idea of Randy Orton just being like, yeah, I don't know, the voices have some pretty good ideas. But not, a lot of people were like, yeah, it's going to happen. And then they've done some pretty cool stuff with it. The lead into it with Bray and Randy fighting wasn't great, which is probably not necessarily a good sign for Mania, but at least I really like the destination.
Mm-hmm.
And the journey should be pretty good getting there. It's just the actual match that we'll see. But again, Bray has to actually win Elimination Chamber, and there are other things that could happen. We'll see how that goes.
So for this match, Randy has to win, right?
Randy wins, but I don't think he wins on his own.
Yeah, I think this is a coming out party for Luke Harper, but I also think Randy wins through chicanery / shenanigans.
Yeah, we'll get the sympathy for Luke Harper that he deserves to really move ahead as a face, based on the shenanigans that caused him to lose this.
Yeah, this might be a match where he looks like amazing, and he gets 95% of the good spots in the match, but he loses because of a distraction and an RKO.
Distraction out of nowhere.
So the second to last match on the card is the SmackDown Women's Championship match between Alexa Bliss and Naomi. This match, as we spoke about earlier, has the potential to be really great, but I do worry about the styles clash, and not the styles clash, the clash of styles between a super athletic Naomi and Alexa, who, as you said, is like a Pixie Haas.
Trademark. Pixie Haas. You owe me $5.
All right.
Copyright? Whichever one makes you owe me $5. That one.
I like how $5 is the price.
Well, I expect you to use it a lot. I'll send you a bill at the end of the year.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. Just one lump sum is fine.
Can I write it off as a business expense?
You could. Or you could send me monthly payments. Get a deal.
On my ability to use Pixie Haas
Yeah.
once.
You did it again.
I'm $10 in the hole.
You are. See? The monthly rate doesn't sound so bad now. Unlimited Pixie Haas usage for one monthly fee of $90.
$9.99. You and the WWE Network, I get to use both of those for $9.99.
No, I said $90.
Oh, wow. I don't think I have that. I'll have to talk to my wife, but we'll see.
Think of it this way. In a matter of like 45 seconds, you spent $10. So imagine every 45 seconds you spent $10. That's a lot of $10.
Mark, that's literally how no economics works like that.
These do.
Unless we were a freemium podcast.
Nick, what's the words I use to describe Alexa Haas?
Alexa Haas?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I can give you the genericized trademark for
okay.
it.
Alexa Haas is also trademarked, so...
You're a real son of a gun. Did you know that?
It's true. It's true.
So, Naomi looked great in the podcast segment, in the contract signing. As good as she's looked ever. But that's damning with faint praise. She has never really been given a chance to shine, or she would say glow. I like this feud a lot for her, because I think she's incredibly talented, and I think she's a good talker. I think she has a lot of potential as a talker. I thought she was a great heel talker. I think she's a good shit talker. And I think that character would work well for her as a face if she was like more if she continues with the character she has now, but she starts talking more shit. I think that could still work for her as a face, as long as she doesn't get mean and she's just defending herself. But I also think that Alexa Bliss needs to prove that definitively, and this is the feud to do it, that she can carry a main event match, because this is the second main event as far as I'm concerned, like a top tier, top of the card match, almost entirely on her own, because the crowd doesn't know Naomi beyond the fact that she dances and glows.
I think the crowd really likes Naomi.
I do too, but I think she needs to tell the story in the ring as to why Naomi deserves to be champion but won't get it, and I think Alexa can do it, but that's a pretty complicated story to tell, I feel like.
The way to do it is probably have Alexa Bliss completely underestimate Naomi, which lets Naomi get ahead. But then once Alexa, gets her footing, she's able to capitalize on like a mistake, that sort of thing. Which really is how she won against Becky. In the first place was, Becky kind of tossed her around for most of that match, and then she was just wrong place, wrong time, tables match. So if, that's how I can see making Naomi look good, because you get this chance to see everything she's capable of, but Alexa as champion still is able to hold on. So it's kind of a thing where I don't want to compare it directly to this, so don't take it that way. But like the first time Cena and Styles face each other, where they both just kind of surprised each other, and it led to obvious rematches down the road. You can do a similar working kind of setup here,
where Naomi's just constant, like Alexa is hossing it up, and Naomi is just doing more and more athletic things, and Alexa's just like, why can't I beat her?
Yeah,
that kind of feel.
Yeah, eventually, it works, and without the club showing up.
So do you think Naomi has she doesn't have a chance though, right?
I think, she should get real close, and probably more than once. But no, I think Alexa should win. Even if she has to kind of cheat in the very end to do it, her being smart enough to cheat in a deceptive way is, it's good. It's another way to pull it off. Yeah,
as long as they stay away from a distraction finish, I think this will be a really good match. And like I said with the Luke Harper thing, a coming out party for both of them, because I think it puts Naomi in the main event, and I think it puts Alexa as like a real champion, like not just because it's kind of, she's had this Sheamus thing for a little while because she won during a tables match that like it's just kind of unexpected in a way that makes you feel like, is she quite there yet? And I think this would be the match where you're like, oh, she's there. She does not that she deserves to be the champion, but they made the right decision putting on the title on her right now.
Yeah. There's always a possibility, because she can get better in the ring, but there's always a possibility that she's a Dean Ambrose type where everything she does outside of a match makes up for anything she can't do in a match. That fatal four-way they had on Tuesday with Ambrose, Corbin, Styles, and Miz. What was Ambrose, the third best worker in that match? Arguably fourth? Depending on how you feel about Baron Corbin. And that's fine. We still love him as IC champion. He's still a believable WWE champion. You don't have to be the very best wrestler for it to work. And then it's especially if you're a heel. As long as she's smart and she plays her character well within the ring, which she does.
Exceptionally. She's one of the best on the roster, either roster.
Which is why she's in this position already. It's not because SmackDown's thin or, they don't have stars on the roster. They got Nikki Bella and Becky Lynch, and Mickie James just showed up, and, come on. They have stars on the roster.
And Natalya, and there are people on the right, although we just spent a bunch of time talking. But she is like a big enough name that you could put the title on her and it wouldn't be that weird.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think she'd make the best champion. And I think Alexa has real potential, and I'm excited for this match. I think it's going to be awesome. I'm not excited for the Elimination Chamber totally.
What?
I know I have a very strong idea of who's going to win, and all of the people who are not going to win, although I like Bray, and I'm excited for the idea that he might win this match, I like all of the other people in the match so much that it's disappointing that it looks so much like that's the direction they're going, if that makes sense. Like, if it were a surprise and Bray won it all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, That would be great, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be very obvious Bray is winning this. I don't think I think they're pretty much locked in with Bray winning this, because I don't imagine them having Randy Orton face John Cena, or quite frankly, anybody else in that match. And I think that's the problem with having Randy win, is that for a fact it's almost like it's 99.999% going to be Bray. So it's kind of like, it's just not that exciting. There's no anticipation for me for this match, though I think it will be very well worked.
Here's the thing. I don't think the winner of this match is the thing that truly matters. It's the stories they're going to tell to set up the rest of SmackDown leading up to Mania and some of the Mania matches. If we're going to have, as rumored, John Cena and Nikki Bella versus The Miz and Maurice, feels like it starts at Elimination Chamber.
Oh, sure, but I'm more worried about AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, and especially Baron Corbin. If Baron Corbin wasn't in this match for one reason or another, and it was, say, Dolph Ziggler, I think I would feel differently about this match. But the fact that you have a guy like Baron Corbin in there to basically be cannon fodder...
But I don't think he's going to be cannon fodder. I think he's going to eat a shitload of finishers, and they're going to take him out. Like, he's going to wreck people. And they're going to realize, man, he beat us all in that Fatal 4-Way. He hung with Cena for a while. He is dangerous. We have to kill him. And, like, Baron Corbin will get to look good because everyone has to gang up on him and take him out. Or he'll be one of the early guys in the match, and he'll be taken out unfairly, but he would have just dominated the scene beforehand. And that's another just separate story they're going to do. That's the strength of Elimination Chamber, is like being able to tell these individual stories and then have it all wrap up. And the winner isn't an afterthought, especially when it's a WWE champion that comes out of it in this situation. But it's kind of what it spawns that we will pay it. It's getting us to what we'll care about for the next 6 weeks. And that's what really matters.
I think once it's actually happening, I'll be excited, because I do watch and love Elimination Chamber matches. I think they're great. I think it's an awesome gimmick. Going into it, it is the match for which I am least excited.
You're more excited about Dolph?
I don't even consider that a match, but yeah, honestly, like, to me, first of all, that's very clearly a pre-show match, and those are not real. No, I hate Dolph Ziggler, to be sure, but that match, like, at least I don't know who's going to win the match. Like, I am more excited to see...
we already talked about it.
It's Dolph. Yeah, and we're in disagreement on who's going to win it.
Yeah, but my pick is the one that matters, so...
Oh, okay. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't have a clue. I think, let's just make the prediction now. Bray Wyatt's winning this, and he's winning it in a way that's going to be, it's going to be annoying.
I mean, do we know it's going to be annoying? He's Bray Wyatt. Like, the dude might just truck people.
Oh, yeah. Notorious for his exciting finishers, such as exploding monitor and magical talking hologram.
When he's Sister Abigail's
singing child.
When he's Sister Abigail someone into the pods, it's gonna be pretty great.
That's gonna be great. No, I love Bray, and if I had any inkling, even the smallest inkling, even a tiny, like an inkle, I would feel much better about this match. But Bray's winning, and I would bet like the tip of one of my fingers that he's gonna win.
Who's he gonna pin?
Baron Corbin, I would assume.
See, that's where we're in disagreement.
You think John Cena makes it all the way to the end?
No, I don't. I think Bray's going to pin Dean.
That also would make sense. I don't think it's going to be AJ. I definitely don't think it's going to be AJ, and I definitely don't think it's going to be The Miz, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to be Cena.
I could see Styles being a surprise early elimination because he's so full of himself that he'll underestimate Corbin's ability to just murder him in a sealed-off object where he can't run away.
Yeah, Corbin and Styles as the feud that... If Corbin and Styles ends up being a feud, because they move whatever they're going to do, or Shane just isn't on the goddamn WrestleMania card...
I have any for you.
What?
He's going to be.
God, that's the worst news. Right. It's literally the worst news I've heard in the last 25 minutes.
We'll talk about Shane, maybe more if we've got time after, but finish your thought, sorry.
Yeah, I hope that's where that would be worth it to me, to have it be such a coronation for Bray that would be the only thing I think that would make it worth it for me. Outside of that, I'm not excited about the rumors for the WrestleMania card, so this is just kind of like the making that start to become concrete. Like they're pouring the concrete now and waiting for it to, whatever concrete does.
Who are they burying in the concrete, though? Because that's what matters. We all know what matters is that someone's going to lose, and that means they're buried. So 5 dudes are going to be buried here.
Yeah, so it's going to be Baron Corbin's going to be buried, and he's going to win the Dre 2 years in a row. That'd
be awesome, actually. Because then he'd just be like, I'm a 2-time Dre winner, and I throw at Braun Strowman. Who's your god now?
Kneel before Baron. Kneel.
So, Bray's going to win. And, man, wouldn't it have been convenient and logical if Triple H was wrestling Shane McMahon at WrestleMania?
Yes. That would make the most sense.
You save space because, there's a lot of people. I don't care if I watch Triple H wrestle. That's fine. Triple H versus Seth Rollins will be cool. They've been building to it forever. That's fine. But, if Seth isn't able to make it, I just really hope that that's the direction that they pivot in. Because then we'll free up AJ Styles, and also Shane and Triple H will only take up 1 spot on the card total. And maybe they can add some real stakes, like the loser has to give up a wrestler, to the other side. Or just, Shane has to pay for all of Triple H's dry cleaning forever. I don't know. Whatever family shit they've got going on, they could build into a story in a hurry.
Or this is just an idea. The winner of that match gets full custody of all McMahon children, so they can reap the benefits when the old man dies.
Oh my god. Now that'd work, except binding agreement. Everyone Triple H has taken a selfie with at NXT is a child of his, but they're a Helmsley. They're a Helmsley McMahon, so not a true McMahon. But it's enough; it could work in court.
Yeah, I like it. That's genius. So
Triple H, he's the game. He's a cerebral assassin for a reason because of his knowledge of legal loopholes vis-a-vis adoption of adult men.
Yeah, which is why he wrote the Eddie Guerrero Rey Mysterio storyline.
True classic.
I think we just booked the main event of WrestleMania.
Not the main event. No, then it'll be an hour long. Oh, don't do that.
The main event is Shane McMahon versus Triple H for the custody of the future of the McMahon family in a literal sense.
Are you excited for their children to fight someday?
Yes, actually I am.
I am too.
I legitimately am.
Yeah.
Especially if they're as big as Stephanie. Like if the daughter of their daughter is as big as Stephanie is, yes. I hope she's a 10-time world champion.
They're going to wrestle like the wife of one of Shane's kids, and it'll be amazing.
Yeah, that's the dream.
Just keep this going forever. And someday, one of them will be more ridiculous than a past McMahon. So
yeah, and there'll be one that's an actual really great wrestler. So I think we booked WrestleMania completely all the way through.
WrestleMania 55, I think. We just nailed it.
Yeah, the next 25 WrestleManias just completely booked. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about what should be a very good card at the Elimination Chamber?
No. Let's talk about where you can find me on the internet.
Where can they find you on the internet, Mark?
Thank you. I have not practiced at that introduction. You can find me on Twitter at Mark_Normandin. That is Mark with a C. You can find my wrestling writing at kitscheidsseats.com. Except for when it's pay-per-view time, then it's at sbnation.com/wrestling. I'm on paternity leave, so I haven't decided if I'm writing up an Elimination Chamber preview yet. But if I do, it'll be there Sunday morning. And the recap will be there on Monday morning.
You can find me on the internet at The Nixter. That's THEN1CKSTER.
Just on the internet, they can find you there?
Yeah. At The Nixter. You'll just look. And I've heard if you call out into the wilderness at a certain pitch, a tiny bird comes and drops you like a tweet of mine. What?
I just wanted to see how long we could go.
Yeah, and then you can find us at soundcloud.com/Rudo Radio. That's RUDORADIO. Mark, do you have a review for iTunes Or do I have to carry the weight again this week?
No. I mean, well, I had the review last week. I did.
Yeah, I just trumped you, bro. Just trumped you.
I don't know what that word means.
Drumped?
No. Hold on. I'm trying to come up with a review. This is very rude.
Sad.
You're right. It is sad.
Fake news.
Shut up. This is my escape. We're here for weird babyface Luke Harper.
We're here for weird babyface Luke Harper. Is that what you really want to go with, Mark?
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, let's ship it.
You know why? You know why?
Why?
Because I'm here for weird babyface Luke Harper.
That's fair. That checks out. So I guess if there's nothing left to say, the only thing left to say is bye.